Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
And hello and welcome to episode 132 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers, all about scale models. We couldn't do this show without support from you, the listeners. People such as Eric Semmelmeyer, who, through Patreon, has decided to help support the show. You too can do so by going to www.patreon.com/onthebench. And for as little as $1 per month, you can help support the show. There's a fantastic range of other modelling podcasts for you to listen to. To find the full list, simply go to modelpodcasts.com. And this week we have a repeat special guest. Before I get to that special guest, of course, you've got the usual hangers on. Ian, g'day, how are you?
G'day, Dave. G'day, listeners.
Julian.
Good morning.
And back again, we got Sam.
Hello, not that special.
Yes, he is. He's special. Just ask his mum.
Mr. Sam Dwyer has bestowed upon us his... Well, we're all quivering in his presence again.
Stop it. That's no need. Seriously.
Well, it is now, we're an hour past our normal recording time because when we first started, my Mac decided to, I want to install a new update. And it hasn't finished it in the last hour and so I had to madly rush around and dig out the new, different way of recording anyway. So we're finally getting there, getting around it. Oh, gosh. So it's been a hectic 1 hour for me.
It has, yes.
So what have you guys been up to? Let's start with you, Ian. What have you been up to the last fortnight?
Not much.
Okay. All right, Julian, what have you been up to?
Done a little bit more work on the Shimakaze.
Yep.
But I've got to admit, I'm just not feeling it. So I might have to put it back in its box again, I think.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do.
Yeah, just not feeling it.
Yeah.
It's not that I've gone off the subject. I'm just, at the moment, I'm just not feeling like I'm building a ship.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, yeah. I mean, hunting through the stash to find something else to build.
As much as I hate doing it, I find that it's better just to put it back in the box, put it back on the shelf, and move on to something else that grabs your interest.
That's right, yeah.
So, well done.
But,
you procrastinator. Well done.
Yes, yes. So, I purchased a few new kits.
Oh, cool. What'd you get?
Couple of fine mold kits. I've got the Yokosuka Judy with the inline engine in 48 scale.
Yep.
Cool.
And this little Japanese tankette type 94 in 135th scale, which looks like a 172nd scale. Because it's that small. And got myself a Pacific War Sherman.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, 3 new kits.
Excellent. Just go build one of them.
Yes, that's right, yes. Hook in.
Julian, what have you been up to the last fortnight?
I bought a new kit.
Ooh.
So I bought the new tool Datsun 240Z G.
Yep.
From Tamiya.
Yep.
Yes.
That thing's crazy. That thing's crazy.
You going to paint it brown? The box art's brown. The box art's brown, isn't it?
Maroon, yeah.
Is it?
Maroon.
Yep.
The thing is, apparently, I think the ZG model only ever came in that color.
It's great.
It is a great color.
Yeah.
It's actually growing on me. I'm so used to seeing that look, the duck nose kind of model with that color that I'm just like you see it in other colors and you're like, well, that's not quite right. So that thing is just an engineering marvel. So if you build old sort of classic car models, you know that you always have to do the chrome frames around the windows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has them as separate pieces.
Stop it.
Fancy.
That's great.
Separate pieces. That's crazy. And with the wheel hubs, because they've got little chrome accents that go around each spoke.
Right.
Like around the hole for between the spokes.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they've given you 3-piece wheels. So you got the actual wheel, then you got a chrome bit that inserts into that
Yep.
for the chrome accent, and then another plastic bit that inserts into that one.
Oh, wow.
Gotta love to me, hey?
Yeah.
This is so good.
And then it's got like a full engine.
Oh, yeah.
It's just such a nice kit.
Cool.
I was tempted to actually start it, pretty soon, but I would need to get the maroon rattle can and decant it because they don't do it. Like sometimes you get Tamiya kits, they only the color that they want you to paint it in only comes in a spray can.
Yes.
They're a bit slow to update their colour lines, aren't they? They're, their little bottles sometimes.
Yeah, but I think they do it on purpose. I think it must be easier for them to, bring out a new color in a spray can than it is to bring it out in a bottle.
Well, here's a challenge for you. Why don't you paint it just using a rattle can?
You can do it.
Yeah, I've done that before. I do it pretty often with the clear coats. Speaking of which, so we got a little email about the Waverley Interclub and how that event was supposed to be in 2 weeks' time, and we all sort of panicked.
So just for all our international listeners, the Interclub is?
The Interclub is like it's a competition between clubs.
Yeah, in the Melbourne area.
Yeah, in the Melbourne area, and normally you have like I think it's 2 tanks, 2 aircraft, and 2
Miscellaneous kits.
Yeah, or civilian or something like that. And we normally have like cars that go into it, or bikes, or figures.
Yep.
Well, I was like, I kind of want to be one of the civilian slots.
Yep.
But my car hadn't, the S15 that I've been working on I haven't been really feeling it. I'm inching close to the finish line. I'm pretty close. I think I just have to like glue the windows in and then glue the tail and headlights on, and that's it. It's done.
Wow.
But I'm still like, So I thought, you know what? I'm going to quickly start and then finish a new kit in record time.
Right.
So I grabbed the Lotus Esprit off the shelf and I started on that. And I started that midway through the week when we got the email. And I gloss coated it last night.
Oh, wow. Only to find out they've postponed the event.
Yes, but it doesn't matter because I'm still like committed to getting this thing out in record time.
Yeah.
And it's a nice shade of yellow.
Ooh,
And
yellow.
I would have maybe brought it today if it weren't for the fact that I was running late.
Yeah, somebody slept in.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
What about you, Dave? What have you been working on? Anything?
absolutely nothing. I've been busy with work. I've been doing a little bit of work on that Airfix Canberra that you gave me. And
luck.
I've got some ghost seams that have popped up after I've done my first dusting of undercoat. And I've gone,
Yep.
okay. So I've got to go back and do some more work on that now.
Was it shoddy workmanship? The person who built it originally? Was that?
Could be. Could be.
Oh, it's a mixture of a whole heap of different things. I don't know what it is. I think
It'll suck your soul out, Dave. I can tell you that.
some kits are just there and they just, it's like, what's a word for it? It's,
They're there to test you.
well, some kits just can't go together well. You know what I mean? No matter what you do. It's,
Well, considering how warped the fuselage was,
yeah.
I'm surprised that no more ghost seams have popped up, even more of them.
Oh, okay. So I've got a little bit of work to try and get that sorted out, and then I'll have a crack at paint. I'm seriously considering just making a 3-foot model. So just spray it up and
Put the decals on and that's it.
yeah,
Look good in the cabinet.
Yeah, exactly right. So, apart from that, I've been sort of busy with work, so I haven't had a chance to sort of get anything else. I'm hoping I haven't even bought anything. Although Julian, you tempted me the other day. You sent me a picture of a science fiction subject.
Yeah. It's
So-
like, I can't remember what it was called. I think something or other Giganta or something. It was
Something
like,
like
it was
that.
like this flying bomber airship thing from a anime.
So after we finish recording, I might shoot down the model shop and actually
Yeah, why
it up.
not?
buy that.
So speaking of science fiction, I saw during the week someone's released Meng's warship from Flash Gordon. In
Oh, really?
20th scale or whatever. It's like a 1.5 long.
Wow.
The bad cheesy 80s.
yeah.
War Rocket Ajax
Yes.
is what it's called.
Was it Polar lights.
Polar lights, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the Polar Lights kit. I don't know. But and it was gold and red and absurd, but fantastic.
Gotta love those retro subjects. They're just awesome.
Flash Gordon from the 40s and
And the movie that was made in the 80s.
See, I can't remember anything about that movie except for the theme song.
It's Queen did the soundtrack, so it's kind of good.
Go Flash, go! Oh, that was such a bad movie.
Well, for its time, it was great.
Oh, even for its time, good thing going for it was his music.
Yep.
Sorry, I forgot one other thing that I bought. I bought a Gundam kit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'll be tinkering on that once because it's got on the kneecaps. It's got like this sort of like a symbol-y, feature type thing, and to me, it looks exactly like the on-off button icon. The circle with a line put into it. I can't stand it. I was like, what is that doing there? So I've filled it with sprue goo, and I've got to wait a long time for it to dry. Because I don't know, I might scribe through it. I want to do some changes up to it. I want to alter it in a few ways at least.
Yep.
Cool.
Very cool.
So Sam's been so long since we've last seen you.
Yeah, it feels like weeks.
What have you been doing since you were last on the show?
I finished a model.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, apparently that's what you're supposed to do. I don't know this hobby.
Really?
Yeah. And it's an aircraft kit.
Ooh.
So I finished Tamiya's F4B Phantom. So bit of a shelf queen. It was going to be destined for a paint mule because I stuffed it up, but resurrected it and finished it off. So got one out of the way for this year, which is kind of good after a bit of a slow year last year. And got a couple of deliveries, but didn't buy much this week or the last couple of weeks. It's been a slow couple of weeks, unfortunately. Well, probably good for my wallet, but
Yeah, I haven't bought it. The only thing I've bought is through the generous help of Kentucky Dave is the 5 tickets for the SAC
museum.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
The Nationals in July.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of which, I guess we should do some announcements in regards to that. Where I put my things? So we've got some interesting things coming up. So first and foremost, we do have the Melbourne Model Expo, which we are all excited about because it is our hometown model expo and it's the biggest and the best in the Southern Hemisphere.
And we haven't had it for 2 years.
Exactly right. So that's kicking off on Friday, 17th of June through to Sunday, the 19th of June. So it's a full 3 days. And also on top of that, I think the bump in for is on the Thursday as well.
Right.
So
Entry start Thursday night.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So I'll be taking a couple of days off work for that one. And, of course, everybody knows about IPMS Nationals, 20th July, 23rd of July, which we're all going to. So if you want to come out and meet us, you certainly can do so. Oh, I was remiss to say, for the Melbourne Model Expo, we're going to be having our usual desk there and doing not really a live stream, but we're recording from the show.
Recording from the show, yeah. Get to catch up with a lot of old friends we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, have an open mic so I can get people coming up. The other big news is the 48-hour birthday batch, which is run by the Model Officers Mess, our friends, or James over in the UK. And this one's on the 25th of March until the 27th of March. The challenge is to build any type of 148 scale model in 48-hour period from start to finish. International entries this year. He wants to really encourage members from around the world to get involved, so it's going to be some allowances for the rules.
I know what I'm going to build.
Well, I've already dubbed this all in, so we're all going to.
I've just figured out what I'm going to build.
Yeah, what?
Me 48 scale Komatsu Japanese World War II bulldozer.
Is that 48 scale?
Yeah. 9 parts.
I think so. It's got bugger all bits to it.
It's kind of cheating.
That came out of nowhere.
I had to think it's like 48 hours is not a long time to build a kit in.
So the purpose of this is to support a charity which is Models for Heroes, which is a very great charity to support. And there's some live streaming as well, so you can sit and just jump on the live streaming and all that sort of stuff, which is really cool. So be there or be square for that one.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you want to find out where to go, just go to Facebook page and type in Model Officers Mess, and it'll take you through to the 48-hour birthday bash. group build.
Groovy.
Cool. That's all the modelling announcements and stuff I've got. What we want to do is take a very short break, and then we'll come back to you with some listener mail.
Woohoo.
The Scale Model Supply. Certified Australian made, the Scale Model Supply has a comprehensive range of premium acrylic lacquer paints that have been specifically developed to cater to the scale modeller. Designed to use straight from the bottle, SMS paints have taken all the guesswork out of airbrushing. Simply shake, pour and spray for a fast drying and extremely durable result. But wait, there's more. SMS have just released the new water-based range, Infinite Colour. It is the ideal paint for anyone who is into miniature painting. And with 48 colours that can be mixed to create any colour you want, the possibilities are, well, infinite. The ever-growing range of SMS paints will suit all types of model builders, be it military, aircraft, train, car, science fiction, or even Gunpla. SMS paints will have a colour to suit you. Available now through selected stockists worldwide and online at www.scalemodeller.com.au. Okay, we're back to have a look at listener mail, and the first cab off the rank is we have Jean Grattan, who writes, "Hi, a few episodes ago you mentioned spraying Guns Super Clear from the rattle can, followed by a thin mixture of Guns GX from the airbrush. I saw something similar on YouTube called Kenji's Plastic Models, and since the car he sprayed is yellow, it's hard to see the exact results. Did you get a chance to try this? I've had success with the canned Super Clear, but being a rattle can, I still need to cut the paint with sanding sponge and rub it out. Just wondering if you can get a smoother finish and save some of the cutting out." It's from Jean in Ottawa, Canada.
Yes, I know both the video you're talking about and the YouTube channel. I watch that channel all the time. Yeah, it does work. It gets you a little bit closer. Like, it gets rid of some of the sort of the orange peel when you do paint with a rattle can. That it's sort of unavoidable because it's a rattle can. But I wouldn't. It doesn't. It's not like it eliminates polishing. I reckon I would still do the same amount. I mean, I try to copy as much from Kenji's Plastic Models as I can because he's a far better modeler for cars than anyone I've seen.
So pretty much there's no shortcuts.
No, I mean, this will get you closer. Like, it gets you closer to like an airbrushed gloss finish rather than a rattle can gloss finish.
Is Kenji the guy who's just doing the Tamir Mini at the moment?
No.
Okay, another dude.
No, different dude. At the moment, he's doing a Lotus 7 or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he's the guy that does the scratch building of the throttle bodies on the engines and stuff out of aluminium.
Yes, some of the ones.
All right, hope that answers your question. Next one comes from Brian McGuinness and writes, "Dave, Ian and Julian, loving the new music vibes in your podcasts. Did not know ads for modelling supplies and magazines could be so sensual." Dave, just wondering if that is your banjo at the end. If I recall correctly, the other two heckled you about once playing the banjo. Regardless, it gave me an appreciation for the banjo, enjoying the content as it gets me out of the ruts and into the mood to model. Keep up the great work, guys, and Julian, keep being you. P.S. Zvezda is a Russian company based out of Lubnya in Russia. Lubnya in Russia.
Assuming it's pronounced phonetically anyway.
Well, thanks, Brian. And no, it's not my banjo at the end. I wish I could play banjo that well. So anyway. Yeah. Don't laugh.
It's not a real banjo that you've got anyway.
I do have a real banjo.
It's like a homemade banjo. It's like a banjo made by MacGyver.
No, it's not. I have got a real banjo. Stop it. Anyway. Next one comes from Sultan Rooney, who writes, "Hi Dave, as mentioned in the previous email, I really enjoy your podcast. The only possible improvement is for Julian to stop correcting your mispronunciations." The corrections have no value as people who know the subject already know the correct way of pronunciating the subject. Those that don't know the subject don't care. In my opinion, the continuous corrections interrupt the flow of the show and detract from the ambience of the podcast. If this offends Julian's perfectionist sensibilities, maybe you should take over from reading out the new product rundown.
Look, while I do enjoy like correcting Dave, a big portion of it is just annoying Dave.
Yeah.
Absolutely, just does it to one.
We just love having a dig.
Thanks very much, Sultan. I really appreciate your support. Next one comes from Neil, and it's a big one. Hi, guys. Neil from Kobe, Japan.
Kobe.
That's what I said, Kobe.
So you just corrected him again.
There you go.
The very first line tells you how to pronounce it.
For those of us who might be a bit lacking in the elocutionary graces, Kobe is pronounced Kobe, like bay on seaside, not Kobe, like the baseball player. And a big thank you to Julian for getting Ian and Dave to pronounce Tamia sort of correctly. Julian, you've got no idea how many episodes I'll listen to, confused by references to famous Japanese modelling called Tamaya that I've never heard of before. And I finally worked that out. You guys meant Tamia.
This is fantastic. I had the first two letters are a guy's telling me to stop correcting Dave, and the other one is thanking me for doing so.
Oh gosh. Regarding he goes on to talk about he's doing a fine moulds aircraft as well as a long-term project, Italeri F104. But he goes on regarding episode 129 and painting fiddly parts like the black rubber around the car headlights. Have you considered using something like Hasegawa's flat black finishes sheet?
See, the thing is, right, outside of Japan, a lot of the little extra products can't be found. So if I wanted to get into that, I'd probably have to order it online from a Japanese hobby shop.
Yep.
Like Hobby Search
I've
or something
never even
like that.
heard of it.
Oh, yeah, I've known, because I watch a lot of live streams out of Japan of like modelers and things. There's a lot of things that they get that we don't. They can get super glue accelerator in a little bottle that you can spray on, but instead of it being a little, pump actuated one, it's actually got propellant in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, little tiny one.
Yeah.
Like it's like the size of like the little things that you squirt up your nose. What do you call them? The nasal sprays. It's like the size of a nasal spray, right? Or the chapsticks or whatever. It's really small, but it's aerosol filled. Weird.
Yeah, very handy. Very handy.
So let's circle back to what he first said. So Tamia, according to Neil, is Tamaya.
No. He's telling you not to say it Tamaya.
I don't say Tamaya. I say Tamia.
No, you don't.
I say Tamia every time.
No, you really don't.
I swear on my Tamia model.
Look, if there's any talented listeners who want to like edit together a compilation of Dave's Tamaya adventures, right? Go right ahead and send it to him.
So what do I say? What do you reckon I say?
You say Tamaya. That's what he's alleging.
Well, don't forget there's also the idioms of where you are in the world. For example, the car manufacturer Nissan, here in Australia we call it Nissan, well, but it's called Nissan if you're in other parts of the world.
Look,
and it's
most people here in this country pronounce it Tamia.
And it's like the name.
It's got an I in it. Why would you say it Tamaya?
I'm pretty sure I say Tamia.
Let's move on.
Moving on.
Thank you very much, Neil. Appreciate your writing in.
He had a lot to say, all right?
He did. And in the brevity of moving forward and keeping things short, not that I'm having a crack at Neil himself.
No.
I'm just saying there's a heap. Anyway, James Black, and thanks, Neil, for writing in. I will try and say Tamia correctly.
Sure.
James Black writes in, says, hi, guys. I've been meaning to send an email for some time. I'll listen to the show while driving to sites for my day job. highly entertained by Dave's mispronunciations and the top-notch general discussion, but I end up forgetting what I was going to email in about by the time I make it through the episode. Regarding Julian's catchphrases, I often thought that the one he ran with about buying more tools could be pushed further to learn to make the use of tools you have available. There's no good buying tools if you don't know how to use them well.
Correct.
Well, you can never have enough tools. I love buying tools. I can't help it.
Yeah, but you got to be able to use them too.
Well, I can use them, but then, see, this is the thing, man. I mean, I might have all these tools. I've got them all packed away, and I'll be doing something, and then I'll go to dig something else out, and I'll find this tool I haven't used for a long time and go, oh, there it is. I wonder where it was.
Or you got the other one where you've just been struggling and just with one thing, and all of a sudden you get through it and you reach up and you go, oh, damn, I had a tool to do that.
Yes, exactly right.
You totally forgot you had that tool.
Well, while we're talking about tools, can I just say that good tools will actually sort of inform you as to how they're supposed to be used, whereas a bad tool for the job will never get you on the right track.
Yeah, they whisper to you.
They whisper to you. Is that what you said?
A good tool will whisper to you.
Yeah, sure. So like one of my biggest frustrations was dealing with cheapo airbrushes that I started with when I first got into the hobby.
100%. Agree 100%.
Those things will not inform you of how you're supposed to thin your paint. You'll just be struggling because you'll be like, am I using too much pressure? Is that what it is? Or maybe I haven't thinned it enough. Maybe I haven't had enough paint. Blah, blah, blah. You're just struggling with all these variables. But if you buy a good airbrush, it won't tolerate any mistakes in your airbrush thinning, right? And then you'll realize that air pressure doesn't really matter at all because you can spray it high pressure or low pressure and it'll still work.
Yep. Very true.
James goes on to say, when it comes to dioramas versus vignettes, I think the difference comes down to size and complexity. Put my tooth back in. Complexities of the scene. Something with a vehicle or action is diorama, whereas a scene of deep emotions, such as a gravestone with flowers or a simple sniper hiding, could be a vignette. In my experiences so far as a modeller, photo etch have only been frustration and stress. However, the Newcastle Model Club decided to do a Year of the Tiger build based around big cat themed models, and I chose the 176 scale Airfix Tiger Moth with a bunch of Edouard details and etched rigging. Oh, etched rigging. Slowly but surely, I've managed to get this model to a reasonable state so far, but quietly crapping my pants while gluing the etched rigging, seat belts, etc. I built this kit as a teenager back in the 90s, being young and with no solid guidance. It turned out like a dog's breakfast. But now the new tooling, extra details and more patience is helping me immensely. Good luck with the Moosaroo Cup. Have you guys approached B&A or Oz Armour Museum about arranging a site visit, talk, walk around, live recording as part of the Oz Armour Fest? Keep up the quality of the show. Best regards, James. Now, it's funny, before we came on here, we were talking about B&A, we were talking about Oz Armour Museum. And we actually interviewed one of their managers back in episode 6, I want to say.
It was a long time ago.
But it's fast becoming a place that we need to get up to.
Yeah, it is huge.
With B&A, there's actually not much to see there because if you...
it's just a warehouse.
Yeah, it's just a warehouse full with models.
It's the last scene of Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Where it's just warehousing.
But they actually post photos on their Facebook page if you want to go check that out. You just see them bringing pallets of filled, literally pallets of kits stacked up.
Yep, absolutely. All right, very good. Shall we have perhaps another break, and we'll come back and see what the Falcon has to say?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, we'll be back very shortly. Whether you build aircraft, armour, ships, science fiction, cars or figures, the Fine Scale Modeller magazine provides the how-to information you need to take your modelling to the next level. In each issue of Fine Scale Modeller, you'll find clear how-to features on model assembly and finishing written by experts, reviews of the hottest model kits and products, tips and techniques for assembling, painting and finishing, as well as inspiring photos of readers' models. To find out how you can get your copy of Fine Scale Modeller, go to www.finescale.com. Okay, and we're back, and we have got some information has come in from the Falcon, who writes, "Hi, Dave, Ian, and Julian. This week, Tamiya announced." Did I get that right?
Yes.
It sounded like you said amounced with an M.
Some kits for release for 2022. There seemed to be more anticipation than usual over this year's announcements, and it is fair to say people were a bit underwhelmed by what they heard. So what was announced? Aircraft, 148 scale, Lockheed P-38J Lightning.
Not underwhelming.
No.
I'd be keen for one of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't, but Julian, you built the earlier one, didn't you, that came out, 2 years ago?
No.
Yeah.
No, I did not. I built the crappy Academy kit just before the Tamiya kit came out.
That's the way it works.
Yes, that's exactly how it works.
Two 148 scale armour kits, a British main battle tank Challenger Mark II that was used during Desert Storm. Was it Desert Storm?
No, used OAF, Iraqi Freedom.
Thank you, Iraqi Freedom. And a German heavy Tiger 1, early production for Eastern Front. In 135th scale, we got a Russian KV2 and figure set, and a US infantry scout set. A 1/16th scale British Centurion main battle tank for radio control conversion. And there were a few cars announced as well. There was a 1/12th Renault RE20 Turbo with PE parts, limited edition. A 1/12th scale Nissan Fairlady 240 ZG Street Custom, which is a reissue. A 1/24th Nissan Fairlady 280Z with a T-bar roof, which is another reissue. A Toyota 1/24th GR86 and a Subaru BRZ, which is a ZD8. At first glance, the list seems quite unexciting, but the P48J should do well. Remember when Tamiya released the P38F, some people were lamenting that it wasn't a J, so they should now be very happy and will no doubt put their money where their mouth is and buy one or two more of the new Lightnings. The 48 scale armour guys seem reasonably pleased about the Challenger 2, and we already knew about the KV2, so no excitement there, but now people have seen pics of the figures from the US Infantry Scout set, and they seem quite pleased about that particular prospect as well.
They're awesome.
They do look good, yes.
Haven't seen a lot of comments on the car kits, but to be honest, the Falcon doesn't travel in those circles. I'm sure Tamiya know what they are doing. As a final note, may I point out that these are the Tamiya releases for early 2022, and Tamiya have more in store for us throughout the year. Roll on Shizuoka.
Yeah, I think they announced all that Tamiya stuff.
Shizuoka, thank you.
All that Tamiya stuff that's been announced was supposed to be Nuremberg. So obviously Nuremberg didn't happen.
Okay.
So this is the schedule stuff for Nuremberg.
Yep.
So now that's out of the way, let's get back to the normal stuff. Aircraft news. Zukimura have announced two new Phantom variants in 48 scale. The McDonnell Douglas RF4B/C and the RF4E. As the RF would suggest, both are reconnaissance Phantoms. Micromere have shown box art and sprues for 1/144th scale.
Go on.
Massichev VM-T Alliant or Allant. I have no idea what that is.
Like if I was to pronounce that phonetically, it would be Miasishchev.
Oh yeah, but do you know what it actually is though?
No.
It'd be something big, square, and Russian.
Possibly.
I've got a faint idea what it may be.
Yeah.
We'll just Google it. Oh, I don't have
Early warning aircraft.
It's an early warning aircraft.
with a big bubble balloon thing.
No,
on
it
the
was
top.
solved the problem of transporting rockets and other large space vehicles. So from Baikonur to Baikonur Cosmodrome. So it's an old modified M4 bomber, and they replaced the ends appendage with some horizontal stabilizers.
And they are huge.
And it's got a great big sort of thing on top. That
It looks like it's got a
rocket
giant
parts.
Rato pack on the top of it.
Oh, jeez. Micromere/AMP to release a 72nd scale Horton HO1X V1 glider with BMW 003 engines.
Wait. Hang on. Read that sentence again. A
Micromere.
glider
Yeah.
with engines.
Yeah, I know.
It's a submarine with windows.
They're also planning on releasing the V2 and the V6 versions as well. So when Horton first started making their bat,
Oh, it's got to get up in the air, I guess, doesn't it? So the jet
Yeah.
engines get it off the ground.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, armour builder. Yeah.
that's all right.
So it made no sense. Yeah.
There's a rumour going about HK Models are going to release a 148 scale kit of the Handley Page Halifax bomber.
Ooh.
I have very little confidence in this being true, says the Falcon.
Every kid who built a Matchbox Handley Page Halifax will want to build one of those in 48 scale.
Didn't there was one out years ago, wasn't there? I think it was a French company done it.
Was it?
Yeah.
The only French company I know is...
Frondu or something. I can't remember the name of the company.
No.
But apparently it was a lot of work to get this thing up to scratch.
The only other one that's done one is Airfix in 72nd scale.
No, I have seen a 48 scale one built.
Have you?
Yeah.
Hobby 2000. The reboxing guys from Poland will be releasing X-Trimaster / Dragon 48 scale Focke-Wulf TA 152H. They'll also release the X-Fujimi 72nd scale Douglas TA 4J Skyhawk and the Nakajima J1N1 Gecko. There will be a new tool ferry Alcabor Mark 1 in 72nd scale.
Albacore.
I thought it said Albacore.
No, you said Alcabor. I'm not even joking. You said Alcabor.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about. That's coming out from Special Hobby in 2022. There will also be a reissue of the 48 scale Avro Anson Mark 1. While talking about Special Hobby, the 48 scale Potes 631 mentioned last episode is now confirmed to be the Azure kit with some changes. There will be new wings, transparent parts and smaller detail parts, so not the new tool that we were all hoping for.
But it's still an ugly plane.
Yes. Edward have announced a further addition to their 48 scale Trenner family. They'll be releasing a single seat Ziln Z526A Acrobat in March 2022 with 4 very colourful marking options. Military vehicles. Takeom in collaboration with Snowman will be releasing a 72nd scale kit of the Chinese Dongfeng DF-41 ballistic missile launcher.
Snowman.
That could, I could be tempted by that. Special Hobby will release 2 72nd scale armour kits in 2022, a captured SDKFZ 250 half-track, and a Rheinbolt German World War II tactical ground-to-ground V4 rocket. Das Werk have shown the box art for the forthcoming 35th scale German PaK-40 anti-tank gun. The kit will come with a crew figures, ammo and ammo boxes, 3 types of wheels and 3 types of muzzle brakes. The kit will be produced in cooperation with a well-known company which Das Werk declined to name. It possibly is Dragon. What do you think of that
More
one?
than likely.
AFE Club PaK-40 is still in production.
Yeah.
So-
That's a nice kit too.
It's the pick of them. And the Dragon PaK-40, Dragon, scrabbling to stay alive. So they've probably done a deal with Das Werk.
Yep.
Quite possibly. Special Hobby have announced 2 35th scale kits for release in 2022. Panzer Belfwagen 38T and a Panhard 178B with 47mm gun late version. Oh, I'm losing my voice. Amusing Hobby are releasing a 35th scale kit of the Tiger 1P Porsche Tiger. The kit will come with full interior and moulded on Zimmerit. The Falcon doesn't claim to have supernatural abilities, but I'm getting a strong vision of another company releasing a version of this tank without an interior, a company whose name rhymes with Das Werk. It is rumoured that the people who are doing the 48 scale Supermarine Scimitar are said to be working on a Ferret light armoured car in 135th scale. That'd be quite good. Border Models have announced a 35th scale ZTZ-99 Chinese main battle tank. They made the announcement by showing the kit's box art, which depicts the ZTZ99 cruising the streets of San Francisco with the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. Border claimed this was supposed to show an alternative 2030 where the US and Chinese forces have combined to fight off the alien invasion. But it seems more like a misguided attempt to troll their American customers.
Yeah.
So I saw a photo of a bridge in Beijing or somewhere that looks exactly like the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yep.
So I spoke to a mate of mine in Hong Kong and said, "You sure it's just they've done that and it's just been a bit of a misunderstanding and, you know, it's not really the Golden Gate Bridge?" And he goes, no, I'm in a bunch of Chinese chat rooms and it's definitely the Golden Gate Bridge, and all the Chinese modeller guys that he knows are appalled that they would do that.
Really?
Appalled. And they said that if it was the other way around and an American company popped a Abrams tank driving through Beijing,
Oh, the uproar would be amazing.
there'd be nukes fired over it, kind of thing. And they think it's disgusting. They just think it's just a poor joke at best. Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, it was definitely because in the box art, the street sign is actually English. So
Oh,
it's
there
not,
you
it
go.
hasn't got Chinese
Yeah,
characters. So
yeah.
it was a definite, Wow.
Yeah, bad taste.
Yep.
Yeah. Sounds like they flipped the bird.
We don't need their market.
No, we don't. I've lost where I was up to. Okay, Gecko models are expanding their lineup in 35th scale Bedford trucks with something a little different. It is a German Bedford MW Butte wagon, which is known as personnel wagon. It's not just a Bedford MW painted grey with some crosses on the side. It is a German conversion where the area after the firewall has been replaced by the body of the KFZ12 or 13 command car, based on a real vehicle conversion, and there are pictures. Gecko have also shown box art and CAD renders for 35th scale Scimitar Mark II-CVRT armoured recon vehicle. Okay, it's a cool little track vehicle. That.
Yep,
Yeah.
very cool.
Boat news. Last episode, Dave, you were complaining about the lack of naval kit news and challenged the Falcon to find some naval kit releases. So here we go. Border Models. Border Models have announced a 135th scale Mark V IIC U-boat,
It's a Mark 7.
or at least part thereof. This kit is a waterline centre section of the Type 7, including the conning tower and the deck gun. You can also depict the torpedo being loaded. It all looks very nice, but you kind of wish Border would have stepped up and done the whole boat.
Or a late version,
Yeah.
like a late 7 rather than an early. But anyway, still get one.
4 models, spelled FORE, are following their very nice 1/72nd scale S38 Schnell boat with the S38B Schnell boat with the armoured bridge. Special Hobby have announced a 1/72nd scale Kriegsmarine Kriegs fish cutter, also known as an armoured trawler. So that's the Falcons' annual naval news segment. See you in February 2023 for the next instalment of naval stuff. I don't think so. If you want to continue being me to read you out, Falcon, you better lift your game sometime. Well, have you guys, that's all from the Falcon. So have you guys got any news?
No, I did pay attention to the Tamiya announcement release type thing. I didn't, wait with bated breath like some people did, hoping that they would finally get their 32nd scale P47 or...
Anything German in 32 scale. They've not done a single German subject in 32, to me.
No, they haven't either.
You mean 35th?
No, 32 scale aircraft.
Oh, yeah, 32 scale aircraft.
Yeah, there are tons of German in
but
35.
to me, have never really been that strong on the German stuff for a long, long time. Their Focke-Wulf and Messerschmitt in 48s are really old.
The 109 G6 is 5 years
that
old and
one.
it's a
Yeah.
gem. Yeah. I'd love to see a 262 or a 190 D9 in 32nd scale.
Last we heard, their 32nd scale thing was done and dusted.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
because the Mosquito didn't sell very well.
So here's my question. So you've got 2 48 scale armour kits and a 35th scale armour kit from Tamiya. So in 35th scale is the KV2.
Well, that's just a new turret on their KV1 hull. So that's it's not unlike the Lightning. It's just an evolution of a kit that's already out.
Yep. Just add an
New
extra sprue.
Yep. New figures.
But in 48 scale, they're doing 2 armour kits. See what I'm saying? Because, generally armour sort of follows one main sort of scale line. So the 72nd, or lately it's a big popular one has been 16th scale.
Their 48 scale armor kits are pretty popular though. And then there's no competitors in that space either.
But hey, for speaking of stuff they haven't released in a long time, when was the last time they released a 1/350 scale ship model?
That's a good point.
Been a very, very, very long time, well over a decade to my knowledge.
So I did watch a walkthrough of the Tamiya plow model factory, which is like just only Tamiya owned store, and like the entire basement level is just their RC stuff, and it's huge. I had no idea
That's
how
in
much.
Shizuoka. It's actually in Shizuoka itself.
No, this one's in Tokyo.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like the entire like basement floor is just nothing but RC, and I had no idea they have as many RC products, as many RC cars, trucks, whatever, as they do scale models.
Oh yeah.
Right,
It's huge.
static models.
Yeah.
Just wall to wall, like they got tiny little buggies to like really big things. It's multiple scale. It's like exactly the same thing mirrored across to RC.
I bet their Wild Willie is still one of their top sellers.
Yeah. Fantastic. And like, so it's really no surprise to me that if they have a release and then like there's not that much for scale models because they've got other stuff to do. You know, they're not just here for us.
Yeah.
Even though I would like that to be the case.
Exactly.
So we got the Hellcat in 35 scale late last year.
Yeah.
Which is amazingly awesome.
Yeah.
So and the Cavia 2 look kind of popular.
Yeah.
Big green thing. But
they've been bringing out a lot of car models lately. They did the F14, they did the F4.
And the new F4A, which is it's got the deck, carrier deck and the shooter.
Yeah, I think people are getting a little complacent with the number of releases that Tamiya is putting out lately.
It's still good. And they're Tamiya kits, so they're going to be good. Even if the subject may not necessarily apply, it's going to be freaking awesome kit.
Like there's no one else bringing out like new kits in like the center space of modeling as much as Tamiya has. Cars, tanks, aircraft.
Yeah, you see, you get a lot of other manufacturers who just one genre.
One genre.
You don't hear a lot of Hasegawa releases anymore.
No.
Is that just Japanese internal market only now, or just just reboxing of another Phantom kit? Or
I think they found that they could rebox a lot of their aircraft kits with anime figures and sell it to the people who watch that sort of stuff, and they're making money off that.
Yeah,
and they don't have to
little commercial bulldozers and digging apparatuses and desks and chairs and
I don't know.
stuff
I mean,
like
I think
weird stuff.
you would have to sort of speak to, you'd need to talk to someone who has a broader view of like their entire product line to know what's going on, where they're going with their business.
It just feels like a lot of other manufacturers will just go down one path. They're just doing aircraft, or maybe Border, for example. They're mostly armour, but they've got a bit of other stuff. Meng are stopping armour and doing everything else but armour now. So,
which is a shame.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're a smart company with your choice subject and your Meng, you would go, okay, well we've got most modern armour on lockdown. We've got the best kits available, and anybody else who steps into that space has got to contend with us.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just move on to a different area and own that too, rather than try and fight it out for the other little stuff.
There's two modern kits I want to see someone do, and I know Meng's got the CAD for one of them. I want to see a straight vanilla M1 Abrams, so 80s era, 105mm gun, green, or Murdoch camo M1 Abrams, and then an M2 AO Bradley, like an early mid-80s Bradley with no extra armour, none of that sort of stuff. So those two kits. So Meng's definitely got the CAD for the Abrams, because when you buy their M1A1 or M1A2 kits.
And you have to build up all the little bits of armour, right?
Yeah, but you turn the turret upside down and you can see blind cast or blind moulded holes for parts you need to punch out holes for to put various bits and pieces on. And there are some marked M1. And there are some marked M1A1 and some marked M1A2, depending on which version you're buying. So the turret shell itself is standard across all three.
So you want the Team Yankee versions.
Too right, I do.
Yeah.
Too right. My favourite book, Team Yankee. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, see, I reckon what they would have done, because I think that one, there was a time when they were getting, was it T-Rex Studio to design a lot of their stuff?
Yeah, Liang.
And they probably put out the issue, we want, we're going to put out an Abrams, and then we wanted to be able to cover all of these different variants.
Yep.
But then they didn't bother to release any extra boxings because they figured it wouldn't be financially viable, right?
And It'll happen. It's just sitting on the shelf, so it'll happen at some
See,
point.
I don't think it necessarily will.
Yeah,
Because-
they'll sell it off to Border, or no, they don't like Border. They'll sell it off to someone.
Well, they just wanted to have the option there if they want. If it sold really well, they could have just gone, okay, we'll bring out another boxing and double dip.
Yeah, Abrams still sell gangbusters.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, what is it like with model kits? Like the cardboard box costs more than the model kit that's in it, or something. Sometimes.
Yeah, usually the decals and instruction sheet the most expensive part. The plastic's only
Plastic
worth it.
costs. Well,
Yeah, it's all dollars.
well, having said that, plastic prices have increased since the start of the pandemic, but it's also shipping now. It's costing an arm and a leg
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
shipping's insane.
Yeah.
It used to cost you about $8,000 for a container. Now you're paying about 16.
Yeah.
And most
the rest?
and most of that's bribery money. I'm serious. It's bribery. You've actually got to bribe a lot of these companies to put your container at the front of the line.
And even just
Otherwise-
regular mail, you can't get out of or Hong Kong anymore. You can't get air mail to Australia.
But and the other thing, in the business I'm in with air conditioners, there's a ship. You can't getting Daikin air conditioners in Australia at the moment is very difficult because the containers that were coming to Australia, they were halfway across the ocean, and next thing you know, the America's done a deal with Daikin and undercut us. And next thing you know, they've turned the ship around. Now the ship's going to the States.
Wow.
Well, I bought my
That's the
car
way everything's
10 years ago, and at the time it was worth $8,000, and now it's worth $17,000.
Yeah, second-hand cars are so expensive because people can't get new cars at the moment.
Oh, but hang on a second. It's not like you bought some piece of crap. You got a fairly decent car. I mean,
No, it was a 10-year-old car when I bought it.
yeah, but the car you've got is becoming a classic. It's one of the best coupes that Mazda put out, or soft tops that Mazda put out. The MX-3.
There's mixed opinions about that.
No, it's they're
it's a modern
gorgeous to drive.
classic.
Yeah,
Modern
right.
classic,
yeah.
It doesn't matter. The point was that prices of cars have just jumped like double what their value is.
I know exactly what you're. My boss bought himself a new four-wheel drive Prado, right? He had it for 3 weeks and sold it and made a $6,000 profit.
Inside, I know for a fact, inside Japan, prices for cars have gone up 30%, and they make their own cars. We don't.
Yeah, we used to.
Let's get back on the modelling track, away from
But I mean,
cars.
it's just to talk about the general shipping. This is something we can't get a lot of paint and things in.
We can't even get stuff at Tamir paint. We're struggling at the moment.
Yeah. Even before COVID, we were struggling to get a lot of gun stuff.
Yeah.
The other modelling news, I've heard a unconfirmed rumour that Airfix, and it's perhaps happened before these rumours, but they're talking about bringing back in-house production now.
Where's production now for FX? India.
Yeah.
Okay. Hardly an injection molding powerhouse.
Well, India?
Yeah.
That's cheap labour, though.
Yeah.
Well, if they do, I just hope that it has a knock-on effect for the detail that they can put into their kits.
I don't think it's the detail so much that's the issue. I think it's the
Quality control?
quality control. I think is the one that's a real Achilles heel at the moment.
Aren't they just absolutely hot and cold? Like you get a English Electric Lightning, which is amazing, and then you get a Westland Whirlwind that's a pile of junk. You know, like and I think someone else was sort of mentioned on Facebook. So actually, Airfix came up a bit this week on Facebook. Some people saying, you know, actually we had some local Australian guys carrying on about, and it was the Westland, you know, Whirlwind or some helicopter thing. It's like, oh, it's reissued from 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Really? It's hardly going to get me in the car and drive them to the hobby shop to get it, man. Like and are they catering to these old blokes in the hobby? That
I think they're catering to
that
the
are just-
nostalgia market.
Yeah.
that
I think
segment of the
didn't
market.
Chris Meddings put a post?
I think it may have
About
been.
that.
Was Chris who mentioned
and-
posted that? Yeah.
And I read his post, and it was it was really well written, and how they're pandering to people who are basically nostalgic builders.
Brush paint, Humbrol, you know, paint over just. And that's
No,
fine. I know everyone
exactly.
does the hobby differently, but it's like, wow. And I guess they're turning $1, so that's they're still around.
But as Chris was saying, when these guys die out, FX is going to be left basically like a beached whale.
yeah.
Yes. I mean, like, nostalgia is a hell of a drug, as they say. You can make a lot of money just on that alone, but it's not a course for the future.
I have one kit in my collection that's going to be a nostalgia build.
Yeah, the FX,
the
little
FX
in a box thing.
Yeah, Little Destroyer was from like the first kit I ever built. when I was 7 years old. And
Well,
I'm going to wait till I'm 57, and then I'm going to build it because that'll be my 50th anniversary.
I'll give you a tip. That Canberra Airfix Canberra I'm building at the moment, the way that's going, it's going to become a nostalgia one as well.
Such an overpriced piece of junk, that kit.
There's a lot of flap about Airfix releases, and really, are they relevant now? Is it?
No, I'm going to step to their defence because I think the Buccaneer they've announced, that is well timed and well overdue.
And that's a new mould.
Yep.
The new Spitfire looks all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe you should wait until you see it in the plastic first.
Yeah. All we're seeing so far is CAD renderings.
I mean, it might be the only kit in its scale, but so's the Canberra.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
didn't Special Hobby bring out a Canberra?
I don't know. It'd be just as bad even if they did. Special Hobby.
Could be worse being Special Hobby.
Yes, true. Lots of resin bits.
All right. Okay, so we have our special guest Sam here today, and the topic for today's discussion is an armour builder wants to build aircraft.
Wants to. Has been.
Has been. He's gone to the dark side.
Yeah. We've got snacks.
Yes. We have cookies.
So, well-renowned model armour builder Sam has decided to start building, or has been building aircraft. So, tell us how that process has gone for you.
It's not a new thing. So I started building aircraft back in the day. So, Matchbox, Handley Page, Halifax, and, Lancasters and that sort of stuff. So now I'm really, really choosy. So 32nd scale, some German stuff. The Das Werk Ellie, it's the prototype, Luft 46.
The Junkers thing.
Yeah. I grabbed one of those. Borders 109 G6 because it's 35 scale, so it's the right scale. But Tamir kits because I don't have to fight them. So that's why if I can build a Tamir kit, I will. So because they just don't put up a fight. They're engineered. You can see where the money is in them. So and given it's not my first cup of tea necessarily, I figure every advantage I can get, I'll take. And by building a Tamir kit, you feel like you're already ahead of the curve.
So, your most recent one that you completed this year is the Tamiya
F4B Phantom.
F4B Phantom.
Yeah. So started that last year, and Sausage Fingers here just, there's so many panels on the outside of the model, and Tamiya in their genius, they've molded it in such a way that there's going to be other versions of it. So the fuselage halves are split in such a way, like one side of the fuselage is a full fuselage length, but the other side sort of splits about 2/3 of the way down, forward and rear sort of thing. So they're going to have an extended nose version for sure. So C's, D's, E's.
Well, hanging out for the E version.
E version to do an Australian one.
Yes.
So
yes.
RAF one. So so the way it's split, and so there's lots of different panels that you glue on, and they all glue into the model, and you don't realise how good they are until you put paint over it, and you don't know which is a panel you've glued in and which is a panel line that's engraved in the fuselage. It's that good. Sausage Fingers here glued the spine panel on and just put a tiny bit much pressure on when he was just holding it down, and a tiny touch too much to me, a liquid, super thin, and a little sort of spooge of plastic came out. So let it sit, and went sanded it. That was fine. Rescribed it and got tram tracks in it. So which is 2 parallel lines. So in a fit of rage, I parked it, and that was last year. And then over the Christmas break, I thought, you know what? I was going to use it as a test mule, but I thought, why not just get back onto it? And I was, funnily enough, building Meng's Super Hornet. F model Super Hornet as a RAF one. I thought, I can just maybe test some stuff on the Phantom while I'm doing the Super Hornet. So I thought I'll polish up that seam, rescribe it. And after seeing that fella on Facebook, JC Chung, I think it is, who did he's done a Hornet and also a space shuttle, and he's rescribed to me a putty. So,
which to me is impossible.
Who knew?
Who knew? And so I thought I'll give it a crack, and it worked. So model resurrection. So and then finished it off. Yeah. So and it's such a delight to build.
What version have you done the decaling in?
Sundowners. So it's just it's the one that you get 3 options in the kit. And look, Tamir decals, everyone sort of maligns Tamir decals. I had some aftermarket decals from I got them from Sprue Brothers, but I think it's Bullseye Decals released them, and you get the same version. So you get the Sundowners one with the big a big white and red tail, and all that sort of stuff, and the big teeth and stuff under the nose and everything. So that one really appealed to me. So it's that version, air to air. USS Coral Sea, and yeah, I think the only kit decals I used was the blackout panel on top of the nose.
Right.
And yeah, they were thicker than the Bullseye decals, but they worked perfectly, and they conformed over all the panel lines perfectly with a bit of Tamiya decal, solution. Perfect. So, and they don't seem to be thick at all. I haven't had to sand them down or anything like that. So, yeah, it's great. Everything fits so well, and all the stores and everything you can fit after you paint them. So I painted all the pylons, the weapon pylons and stuff separately, weathered them up separately, put grubby handprints and paint chips and all that sort of stuff on them separately, and then glued them on at the end. Saves me knocking them off while I'm handling them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've actually got the same kit in my stash, and I've done got some furball decals.
Yeah, brilliant.
Which
some great options now for them.
And I've also gone and bought the Quinta. I don't know.
Cockpit.
I know some people might say it's cheating, but it's not cheating.
It's not. Nothing's cheating. Do what you want. Like, it's so good. Yeah.
So, and I've listened to the guys over on the Geeks, and I'm really tempted to start that.
Yeah.
I really am.
It's just one of those kits that it's a bit of smile and delight every time you put another part together. That sounds really cheesy, but it's so nice. You realise that the hobby doesn't need to be a chore. Especially you're building that Canberra, or you're finishing that Canberra, and then that's the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to model building. It's so nice to put together. Yeah, and
it comes back to something I've always said that geez, you got so little time, so many models. why muck around with something that you don't have to? So, being that you were well known originally for building armour, have you approached and you've come back to sort of aircraft? I'll say come back. I'm using the air quotes here. Do you approach your aircraft models now from a different light than perhaps you first did, given with your armour background?
Yeah, I try to build up as much as I can, and I know it's really hard with aircraft. But get it to a point because everything's going to, well, maybe not the weapons and the pylons and that sort of stuff, but if you can get the wings on and you can get, I don't know if you got to paint the cockpit first and all that sort of stuff. So the skills I got better at cockpit painting over the years, which is just trial and error. So as my eyes have got worse, I've got better at painting cockpits. I don't know how that works, kind of inverse. But I just as silly as it sounds, it's attention to detail, and so getting your seams right, getting your making sure everything fits, taking a bit of time to fettle some parts in if need be, because all those complex shapes and stuff. There's not a lot of complex shapes on a tank. And if there are, it's a panel line generally. So, but yeah, and they invariably don't take as long as you expect them to take to put together. And those aircraft guys sometimes sort of carrying about, it's taking me forever to build. It's like, no man, there are 9 parts to that before you put the fuselage together. What are you talking about? It's taking you forever to put together. And I'm a quick builder anyway.
I think with armour, you got a lot more. You can hide a lot more of the faults of the kit or your own personal faults. You can hide it a lot more in armour with, and I've always said with submarines are the worst ones. You got nowhere to hide any faults in the submarine. So if even the seam line is just or you just got because it's such a simple shape. Exactly right. Yeah. So you got nowhere to hide. Aircraft sort of fit halfway in between.
Yeah. I would still argue that you still can't get away with with hiding stuff on armour. I don't know. You think you can hide stuff behind Zimmerit, or you can put
slap on a bit of mud
over it and stuff. But it's like you can still see it on people's models that have tried to do that.
Yeah,
and tried to hide stuff.
I mean, you can hide things on undersides, right?
Yeah,
and the tank has like a proper underside.
You can not remove mould seams off the inner wheels. We talked about that last week.
We did, yeah.
and some of like the older kits, don't have any detail on the underside, And then up in the sponsons, there's little areas around there where you can really skimp on things.
But from a competition point of view, if you were going to pop that model into a competition, you shouldn't be penalised for not adding detail if there's no detail there. Like if it's an underside, and you were to enter that into competition, but you didn't hide the motorization holes in the bottom of it. But hang on, no, you're not judging that. You're judging, does it look like a tank? Does it, is the build correct? Is the paint right? That sort of stuff. So yeah.
I've done that. I mean, I had to judge one of the AFV Club dusters, and that's got like slots and things in the bottom of it.
Yep,
so it's a pretty old kit.
Yeah.
I didn't worry about it.
I definitely wouldn't penalise anyone for that.
I think I gave it first.
But if they went the other way though, and you knew that it was the old Tamiya Sherman that had the open sponsons and they've filled them in properly, and then you could look through the hatches because there's a figure there, and you could see that it was filled in correctly. That's extra effort, tick. So they might, you might look a bit favourably on that for them.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in the modified category and you've modified it, yeah. But I mean, competition stuff aside, I mean, there's just building for fun, and you can hide elements on the underside of tanks. You can kind of do that for some aircraft, but it's considered a no-no.
Yeah. Well, so the Phantom was definitely a fun build.
I mean, people always turn over planes. No one turns over tanks, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's glued to the base. They can't. Good luck to rip the tracks off.
Yeah, exactly.
But like my Phantom was a fun build, but I point out on both hands the errors and the issues with it, and hide to a certain extent. Like there's a tiny flex, so the wingtips, where they kick up at the end, the fold where they would fold. So you can actually, in the kit, you do get the opportunity to have the wings folded or deployed. I did them deployed, but just maybe didn't put enough glue in the join. So I picked it up at one point by the wingtip, and it just flexed on the decals and cracked down the center of the star and bar. Bit of blue paint, and then a bit of the light gold grey airbrush out, because the anti-corrosion teams on aircraft carriers were always repainting stuff if there was a paint chip or whatever, so they just repaint over it with a different colour or the closest colour they had at hand. So turn a cock up into that's a feature now.
Yes.
That'll do. So
that works.
Probably won't ever hit a competition this model, but it's practice for the next one.
Yes.
All right, you're going to do another one, eh?
I am going to do another one. So I got another kit, and I've been slowly compiling aftermarket for it.
Oh, you're on your way to being an F4 specialist.
No.
that's what everyone says. And then one day they go, oh, yeah, what's that in the corner? Oh, yeah, that's just my stack of...
I know, that's my Zukimura stash. And then the Hasegawa stash is in the other room. No.
Yes.
You mentioned that the sort of dog leg on the wings where it goes back up again.
Yep.
It's funny because I remember seeing the old, I think it was the Hasegawa kit. Oh, it might have been the Academy kit. But because they did the standard, mold the entire wing as one piece, top and bottom,
Yep. So you've got to try and mate them, and they're both angled, the bottom and top.
Yeah, because they've assumed that, they've gone, we'll make sure that that angle is correct, so we'll do it as one piece for the top and one piece for the bottom. Whereas the Zuke mirror kit did the top and bottom separately for the main wings, and they give you the wingtip part that dog legs up as a separate piece that slots in. Right. So how does it do it on the
Tamiya part? The Tamiya kit.
So that's a separate piece, and you can have it up or down, right?
Upper and lower, and then you get two separate wingtips, which are a single piece, and then an insert that is curved. Different angles on the insert, basically. So,
right.
And then there is a panel line that you need to fill, because it just doesn't. It's a tiny bit bigger than the surrounding panel lines, and it shouldn't be there. So you can pick, which one you want to have, basically, and then once you glue it in, you're all set. So and then chuck the markings over the top, and the hinge detail is insane. So that the way they've got the gap, there's no gap through the hinge, so it's just the perfect panel lines under there and stuff. Yeah, really well engineered.
So I built the Zuke Mura one, and there was some interesting engineering choices there.
I have heard that.
Yeah. So they make the leading edge like two pieces that glues onto the front from the front.
But then there are... Oh, my mic's gone and I'm back again.
No, we can still hear.
Can you?
Yeah.
I was dropping out my headset, sorry.
Okay.
But the leading edge does have slats, and there's 4, I think, on each wing. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of almost okay, I think. I know I'm not an F4 fanboy, but listen to me talk, leading edge slats.
Yeah, exactly. See, you're already there.
You're still listening.
But yeah, the because they molded that as like top and bottom of the leading edge, like as a piece kind of thing. The panel line detail is not so clean through there. And when you glue it in and where it butts up against the fuselage,
not quite right.
I had to fill one side with a piece of card.
Yeah. And see that's the kind of with Tamiya, like as an example, the leading edges are obviously, there's a seam that runs around, it runs from the top to the underside, and that's where the, leading edge extensions or the leading edge slats come out and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. They're molded integrally, they're not separate on the Tamiya kit. I have got some aftermarket ones that I'll need to cut the wing apart to put them in. So
yeah, it's always fun, like gingerly cutting into a Tamiya kit that you've spent quite a bit of money on.
Yeah, absolutely. But where the wing meets the fuselage, it's quite a complex curve shape to that sort of hourglass shaped fuselage sort of thing. But there are pegs mounted in the fuselage bottom and the holes mounted in the top of the wing that they lock together, so you can't get it wrong. That sort of stuff. So I love
engineering.
Yeah, it's great.
So you know how like the classic do as much, you build as much of the model as you can.
Yeah.
Before you paint. Do you glue the landing gear legs in?
No. This one there was lots of times where I sat them on the landing gear and just so that, especially once it was painted, the landing gear wasn't painted yet, so I just sat it on the landing gear. But then I thought, I need to paint up the legs and doors and all that sort of stuff. So then just cut some toothpicks to the same length and chucked them in the three, to me, give you little holes up in the, in the undercarriage bays, which are beautifully detailed. And just sat it on toothpicks so that it sat off the ground. It wouldn't scratch the underside of the model on the desk or anything like that. And then, once it was all ready to paint and mate up, then just, put them all together.
Because for aircraft modelers, like long-term, aircraft modelers, they hate being forced to glue the landing gear in early.
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah.
See, I've got no problem with it. It really doesn't worry me because I'm not someone because what they often do is they'll paint the landing gear wells, then they'll close up the wings and everything, and then they'll mask the inside of that. I do it the other way around. Yep. I paint the plane. And then I mask around the wheel well and then just spray the inside of that.
It makes sense because you can just tape over the entire wheel well and then get a brand new blade and cut carefully around the hole. And then you got your wing masked already, and then you just spray inside your wheel bay.
Yes.
Yep.
But I'll do that with the leg in there as well.
Yeah.
That's no problem.
Well, the last couple of Tamiya kits I built, so what was the 109 G6 and then the Spitfire, the Mark 1 Spitfire.
Isn't that a great kit?
Oh, man. So good. And just there are little panels that pop over the undercarriage is like an upside down U. So it's all one piece. Mm-hmm. And there's a little panel that pops over the joining section so that it all just disappears.
Oh.
And it locks in. It locks into the right angle. You don't get these, wheels and undercarriage legs that are all wrong angles and all over the place.
Well, it's interesting we're talking about the undercarriage side of stuff because now, correct me if it's wrong, I'm pretty sure it was Will Patterson. He's building a jet. It might be a
He's building an E model Super Hornet.
Yeah. And he made a special, I want to call it a plug, a jig to put into the wheel well to make sure that the wheel well alignment's going to be correct before he puts the undercarriage in.
Yep. So the E and the F model. So I'm building the F model at the moment, and it's a very positive location. The actual holes for the undercarriage, because in the Hornet it's really beefy undercarriage legs, and they're oval shaped, so they're really positive, strong locations. So I'm surprised I hadn't heard that he was doing that, but I found that the undercarriage doesn't move. It sits very. It might be that the wheels want to go and sit
toe
a
in
bit
or toe out,
a bit wonky because they do feel a bit.
Well, I assume that's what we're doing because typical Dave, I just I glanced over and thought,
yeah,
that's
story.
And I meant to go back and read it, but completely forgot. So I haven't read the full. But that's what it seemed to me like he was doing because there's
I reckon
nothing,
it was the wheels.
There's nothing worse on an aircraft model than having, and a dead giveaway is one of the landing gears will be wonked out, stepped in. And it just stands out like dog's balls in the moonlight.
Yeah. No, look, because it's effectively the same kit apart from the cockpit. One's a two-seater and one's a one-seater. They're really positive location in the Hornets kit. Okay. So I reckon it'll be the wheels because that's probably the only the only weak link in the chain is the wheels are a bit wavy gravy, when you set them on there. So,
So applying your armour sort of skills do you find that your experience in weathering armour easily translates or gives you a better appreciation for weathering aircraft?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And look, it's a school of thought. Like lots of people like to do their aircraft almost pristine, and that's cool as well because they do look great. They still look, it's something about the kid in all of us.
And at some point that the aircraft are pristine when they come out of the factory.
Yeah, absolutely. And but I will like them weathered, and so naval aviation, they're putrid, and so I pushed myself a little bit with the weathering on the Phantom. I was going to bring it in, and I sort of didn't. I should have, but it's really grubby for me. It's really grubby in an aircraft. So and the Super Hornet. That I'm also working on, it's going to be grubbier still. So it's in Iraq and Syria, so Operation Okra. We sent Super Hornets over in 2015, 16, 14. And used operationally, and really high tempo stuff as well. And so they got really dirty, which is fantastic. So, and so I definitely weather them up. I like them grubby looking, and I like, stains and footprints and that sort of stuff.
So you talk about stains and footprints and weathering them up. What do you use to achieve that?
I'll harp on with the Phantom because it's the most recent one, but it's all acrylics. So I know, apart from Tamiya panel line washes, so huge fan of Tamiya stuff, everything, it's so great. So, camouflage, paint the camo on, that sort of stuff, and then gloss coat, decals, and then panel line wash. So just literally brush it on with the brush that comes in the bottle, or just a normal paintbrush, whatever, into every panel line, and then just use Tamiya thinners in the blue cap, the Tamiya enamel thinners, and just clean the panel lines off with a cotton bud. And then if you do it in a streaky motion along the way that the airflow would flow over the panel, then you get some nice streaks as well. So, and that just works so well. It didn't attack the finish at all. I know some people have had some issues with Tamiya stuff being a little bit hot, but
so what gloss did you use?
We'll go back one step to the paint is. Oh man, what was it? Oh, AK Real Colour was the colours I went with to start with for the light gold grey and the white.
Yep.
And then went over the fuselage with a whole bunch of different light gold greys. So like the anti-corrosion guys have been painting over panels and touch-ups and stuff. So you used SMS light gold grey, Guns light gold grey as well. So just some different colours of that. And then over the top with Guns gloss white. Try again. Guns gloss clear.
The standard or the premium?
The premium. Yeah, just because I happen to have that in.
That's hard to get your hands on at the moment.
Yeah, I had a bottle of it in the drawer.
Yeah, so, I usually buy them in like the 6-packs.
Yeah.
But I haven't been able to find any for a while, the premium.
I don't know the difference in any of it, to be honest. I wouldn't know what's better. They market it as premium, but what makes, is it?
You ever had white spot?
In their flat coat.
Yeah. I don't know what that is, if it's not mixed properly, or
it's you tipping you mix up with thinners and you tip it back into the jar.
Right.
It's that.
Is that what's doing it?
Yeah, it's that.
Okay.
So don't tip. If you've got a little dribble left in your airbrush,
yes, get rid of it.
Toss it.
All right, I'll keep
it
in
empty
mind.
Tamiya jar as your toss jar sort of thing, just to tip the paint into it's already mixed with thinners. Yeah,
because I'm a bit of a cheap bugger like that, and I'll just put it back in.
Same.
But there's nothing more annoying than when you're doing it, and it looks good at first, and then you put it on the bench to let it dry, and all of a sudden it's like, where's a little white spot?
Particularly the Guns flat coat. So
Yeah.
H20, their flat coat, I would get it, and then I found that I stopped doing that, and there was no problem. So yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
Guns
I've learnt something.
Premium super clear, whatever it is.
Yep.
And let it dry for 3 days. Just so I find whether it's my skin type or, I wear gloves now anyway when I model, but I find handling the model can reactivate guns.
Yeah.
And even with, I've got really warm hands anyway. So, and so I just let it really harden up and then start weathering. So, Tamiya panel line thinners, panel line washers.
And then the Tamiya panel, the Tamiya thinner doesn't react with the
At all.
Cool.
At all. And I scrubbed, I brushed the stuff on as thick as you like to get in all the panel lines and the whole, I'll show you a photo, but yeah. It
doesn't work well on the podcast.
This is an auditory medium. And so, and then just brush it off with a cotton bud dipped in Tamiya blue cap enamel thinners and just brush it off, and then you get this little beautiful panel line effect. It's terrific. So,
what did you say, which flat coat did you use?
the Guns super clear, premium clear, whatever it is.
Premium clear or super clear? Because there's is it the one with the tall bottle?
No.
Okay.
Standard size bottle. And it's like a pinkish label, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
or the blue and white sort of coloured label.
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
I knew it was Guns, and it was premium. It was premium clear.
Yeah. They've got the premium ones in their standard sort of aqueous lineup, right?
Yep. Cut with Mr. Leveling thinner.
Yeah.
So
I've switched to using the super clear 3.
Okay.
right? Flat coat, which is GX114.
Yep.
And I use that with their rapid thinner.
Yeah. Because rapid thinner with gloss stuff doesn't work, so it works better with flat paint, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes things extra flat. Like there's examples where they've taken a paint that's kind of semi-gloss and thinned it with rapid thinner, and it comes out flat.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then acrylics. So I carry on with my, I weather all my armour stuff with acrylics, and so weather this with acrylics as well. So MIG have released they're really small. I ordered them from B&A and they arrived and they're like the size of a chapstick, and they're filters. They're acrylic filters in little white bottles. It's fantastic, really great stuff. So they do a couple of different browns, and I don't MIG in different colours. I've got like a dirty Starship Filth type colour, and then a black, and then a mid grey, and a mid brown, and an ochre colour, and it's awesome.
So you just dot that on and just do a broad brush.
Yeah.
across?
So like for the drop tank, for example,
Yep.
for some reason, drop tanks, the top surface gets grubby all the time. Like if guys are standing on them to get up on the wing, or they're doing something, and then when fuel or whatever leaks out of the top of it, or rain streaks down, they always get a run along the bottom of the drop tank as well. Like whereas it
Or it collects on the underside.
yeah, and then it would drip off, but in the meantime, it's forming a stain. So I brushed it on with one brush, just dabs along the bottom centre line of it, and then got like just a broader old scrubby brush and just sort of almost like blended the edges of it away. Stippled the edges away.
Yep.
It's never as smooth as oils, but it's not meant to be. I don't want it to be as smooth as oils, and it just broke up the corners and just the edges, and there's no surface tension to it anymore, and it just left a really nice indistinct stain underneath there. I did the same thing with all the walkways up on the wing top and the fuselage top and that sort of stuff. Just dabbed it on and then just dissipated it away, and it just looks like a randomy, dirty, grubby stain.
And you mentioned footprints as well. So
that's what I did was sort of the dirty footprints. So
you haven't actually got a boot mark on there.
no, I've done that. I've done that with tanks in the past though. I got little rubber CMK out of Czech Republic. Yeah. Did little rubber boot prints, and so you'd stand them in pastels or stand them in oil paints or whatever, and just walk them over your model. Yeah, I've actually got decals for Tomcat, and it comes with deckled boot prints that you can apply over the model.
Oh, really?
In dust colour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's very cool.
Amazing.
Very cool. So, everybody talks about how amazingly easy this kit goes together. Would you recommend the Tamiya Phantom for a first-time aircraft builder?
Look, it's a big model and it's a big outlay, so probably not. But then you think about some of the other Tamiya kits. You think about their 109 or their Spitfire. They're quite in-depth kits as well. So you're probably not necessarily great for the first-time builder. The Tamiya HE162, the Volksjager, it's about 30 parts, and this still fits together. It's from the mid-2000s, 2006, I think it was. It's still a brilliant model. It fits together completely perfectly, and that's a great, for a beginner's model, perfect. Perfect, So, yeah.
Even the old Buffalo was a great kit to build.
Was it?
Yeah. I enjoyed building my Buffalo.
And how have you found the F-18 compared to the F4 in your building?
Yeah, so it's a different team. So, like, the Meng armour is fantastic generally. It goes together really well, and there's no fit issues. The F-18 is I think it's a different design team. And so it's probably unfair to compare the F-18 to any kit to a Tamiya kit in that regards, because nothing is ever going to go together as well as a Tamiya kit kind of thing. And even Edward doesn't go together as well as a Tamiya kit. So, but yeah, look, generally it's quite nice. Yeah, generally it's quite nice. So, a bit of rescribing to get it to go together. And it's a complex shape. On it as well. So you got the sort of the nose section of the fuselage that has to sort of fit in under the leading edge extensions on the fuselage. I wanted to say chassis then. It's not a tank. For a complex shape though, they got it really well. And just the panel lines are a little bit thicker than Tamiya, for example. But generally it goes together quite well. No fit issues to speak of. Just a bit of around where the rear wings are, the what do you call the rear wings on a plane? Sorry, everyone.
Empennage or something like that?
Tail feathers.
Tail wings?
Tail
Little wings? I don't know. The Jimi Hendrix song, Little Wing.
Some people call them stabs, don't they?
Yeah, the
Stabilisers.
big, the rear stabilizers. There you go. Sorry, everyone who builds aircraft. Yeah, like there's a seam there where and there's they fit in with a polycap. But you can get most of it right, and then if there is a seam left, well, they're hidden by the wings when you put them in the stabilizers, so that's fine.
Yep.
I believe Darren Cook's actually building the same kit straight out of the box, and his has come up beautiful.
Yeah,
and he reckons it's a great kit to build. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I know Will Patton's is building the E model, and he's sort of really enjoying it as well. So, and the good thing, Will weather it appropriately. It'll look beat up, and that's great. Especially after seeing his P40.
Oh, his P40. Oh, my God.
That's amazing, isn't
The
it?
dude is just such a machine.
It's the best weathered aircraft I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
Really,
Fully agree.
Yeah, it's how. I reckon it's how a model should be weathered. I love it. Yeah. So so look, yeah,
he brings an engineer's mind to painting.
yeah, which is really hard.
Which is
that
really hard,
analytical side of
Yes,
things crossing
yes.
over to an artistic thing.
Yes.
It's really hard.
Yep.
I'm an Excel nerd, so I find it hard. I'm not an engineer. I'm an Excel nerd, and I find it hard to cross over and do artistic stuff. So I can only imagine. So yeah, it's genius. So I dare say his supermodel will be pretty special as well. So yeah. Anyway, mine's just for a giggle, for a RAF one. So putting it RAF decals on it when they arrive in the mail. And then I picked up the other day the Kinetic Classic Hornet. So we also sent Classic Hornets to Iraq and Syria.
Yeah.
And they're exponentially dirtier and more beat up than our Super Hornets were. So I can't wait to start weathering that because they are wrecked. They look like they're just on their last legs. And of course they were perfectly fine, but just grubby as hell. So that'll be really good fun.
Well, lower your expectations accordingly.
Kinetic, I've heard very bad things.
No, I still remember like one of the guys in our club brought in his Kinetic F16.
Yeah.
And the how like it's got that great big air intake on the bottom of it. Well, it's got like the actual rim, the entrance is a separate piece.
To the trunking.
Right.
It's like that on both of the intakes on the Hornet.
And so when he'd put the fuselage, all together and everything, that thing, the mouth of it was wider than
Oh, that's a scary thought.
Yeah.
Cutting it. And,
Did he chuck it? Did he persevere?
No, he's not the kind of person to chuck things.
No, he'll just persevere.
If he has to put it back in the box for a decade, I think he'll do that. But I mean, he doesn't. Chuck things.
I've been down that rabbit hole. I've been watching videos on YouTube of people building the Kinetic kit, and I've seen that where the sort of the mouth of the two intakes glue onto the fuselage, there is a bit of a thing, but there's enough plastic you can sand it all together, so that's fine. The intakes are garbage; they're two-piece and they're Gap City, and someone is, I think it might be Flying Leathernecks, is in the process of CADing up a set of one-piece intakes. So, yeah, that'll be great. I'll wait for that. I'm in no particular rush. I'm happy to wait for the intakes.
Definitely.
I'll tell you what, like some planes where they've got really narrow intakes, I don't even know how you're supposed to deal with that because you have to create new tools to sand inside there, right?
Put a FOD cover over it.
Put a FOD cover over
Yeah.
it. That is
it.
perfect.
I mean, they're sitting on the ground. It's not in flight.
No, that's right.
So
and then you get to hang all the removable flight tags on it, and that looks awesome.
That does look awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's options.
Before I had to throw away my A4 Skyhawk, I did have like entertained thoughts of like putting it on a base where it's like because there's this great photo of with all the chains chaining it down onto the deck.
Yep.
That is such a cool look.
And all bombed up to Billy-O with all removable flight tags hanging off everything. And looks like that, such a great look. And even if you could do it with an armourer or with the crew chief handing it over to the pilot, and the pilot, just a little diorama on a carrier deck or something. That
A little
be,
tractor sitting there next to it. Yeah,
they're just awesome. Or talking about an error, a problem with the aircraft or something, just to make a great little dio.
Yeah, and like the Hasegawa kit does come with the hooks that you attach the chains onto, right? So
there you go.
Now the Hasegawa kit's supposed to be the kit for the A4,
only because there's nothing else.
If that was one to be for them to redo, because they're
definitely
really hard to come by and expensive.
Are they? Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I'd love to do an Australian Navy
Hasegawa.
one.
Oh yeah.
You just can't get the kit.
Yeah.
And not to mention there's multiple, like they did so many different A4 variants
Yep.
as kits. And so if you want a specific
Yeah.
Like if you want a Vietnam era one, you have to go for I think it's the A4E or F or something like that, and it's like
there'd be two that I want to do.
Good luck finding the right boxing.
I want to do a Navy or do Marines use them as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to do a Navy or Marines one, or I'd want to do an Australian one.
Or a Kiwi one, because they really camoed them up. They looked awesome.
Yeah.
There's so many of them.
So yeah, look, fingers crossed we do see an E model Phantom, because then you got to do a RAF one.
You got to do a RAF one.
Yeah, because
it comes in the Southeast Asia camouflage. So that's hot.
Yeah. So
Well,
three colours.
If you decide to go down that rabbit hole, just pay attention to the getting all the wing leading edge type stuff.
Yep.
Like perfect before you add any glue.
Yeah.
Because you won't get a chance to do anything afterwards. Because the way the fuselage curves in, it's like a crevasse to get to the end, to the wing leading to the wing root. You can't get in there.
No.
There's nothing you can do.
I'll wait for Tamiya. I'm not going to go with the Sukimura one.
I would love to wait for Tamiya, but
I got plenty of things to keep me busy until.
That's true. That's true.
So I put it up on Instagram the other day. I shuffled my cabinet around. I got one big sort of cabinet that I put my models in, one and a half sort of thing, and shuffled everything around to have a shelf for my aircraft so there was room, because I'm quite happy with the Phantom and stuff. So put it all in there and then moved some stuff around, and the bottom half of my cabinet was just builds that were ready to paint. So, and then I had to move them down and compress them a little bit. So I had a couple of shelves in the bottom half that are finished models. So that's great. So, quite a bit there. I got 34 models that I could pick up and paint today.
That's too much.
Oh, jeez.
Literally, they're all highly detailed tracks on them, as detailed as accurate as I can get them, and they're ready to paint. And I'll start something new.
That's how it goes.
It is.
Unbelievable.
Yes. Definitely agree.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap this up. It's been a fantastic talk about armour to aircraft.
Yep.
And, what a average armour modeler can do when you decide
Very
to build
average.
Yes.
okay, time for sign-offs. Ian.
Goodbye, everyone.
Oh, nice one. Julian. Tools.
Get some more tools and get good quality tools at that. I'd rather you get like a good quality tool than a cheap one.
Sam, any final words?
Thanks for having me again, guys. Let's make it more than 2 weeks before I'm back.
Sounds good.
No worries at all. All right, so he doesn't want to come back next time. Obviously, my bacon and eggs weren't good enough.
No, they're wonderful.
All right, guys, thanks very much for being with us, and we'll be back in a fortnight.